Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So, welcome to another episode, and I'm going to call this episode Sip and Savor, where we're going to explore the world of wines one glass at a time. And today we're diving into a topic that's sure to tickle your taste buds and expand your wine horizons. We all know and love the elegance and effervescence of champagne, but what if I told you there are some equally delightful and lesser known sparkling wines out there just waiting to be discovered? That's right, today we're on a mission to uncover the hidden gems of the sparkling wine world. And who better to guide us on this journey than our special guest, a true connoisseur and wine expert, Peter Douglas. From the rolling hills of Italy to the sun-kissed vineyards of Spain, we'll be experiencing a variety of sparkling wines that offer unique flavors, aromas, and stories. Whether you're a seasoned wine enthusiast or just starting your journey, this episode promises to be a sparkling adventure that you won't want to miss. So grab your favorite glass, sit back, and let's embark on this effervescent exploration together with Peter Douglas. Discover the timeless secrets of Italian cuisine with the Basic Art of Italian Cooking series by Maria Liberati. That's me. From fragrant basil to silky olive oil, each page is a culinary masterpiece. Taste the passion, embrace the tradition, and create your own masterpieces in the kitchen with my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. Buon appetito, and you can find the books on Amazon.com, Kindle, on marialiberati.com, and on the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. And today my special guest is Peter Douglas. He's a wine consultant with Vino Voss. And, you know, there's a lot of holidays. We just passed a lot of, Christmas and New Year's and a lot of holidays for the end of the year and beginning of the new year. But we still have a lot of holidays coming up. There's Valentine's Day and a lot of springtime holidays. And of course, we'll be getting into picnics soon too. So everybody is going to want to think about using some kind of a sparkling, bubbly wine, and usually everyone thinks, okay, I just can use champagne, but Peter's going to be here to help us figure out some alternatives to champagne, so you don't
Yes.
have to use champagne. Yeah, Peter. So, and we're in Berlin, Germany with Peter today, so we're traveling to Berlin. Peter, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here, and it's an exciting topic because the wine is so complex and there's so much going on and there's so many alternatives.
Uh-huh.
And since wine is grown in so many places, there are also a lot of styles, and likewise there are a lot of similar qualities to champagne, but there's also total opposite in terms of flavor, which
Huh?
makes it very interesting if you're like looking for low alcohol, if you want something sweeter, maybe you don't like it too acidic, or you just like looking something for something very casual, and it doesn't always have to be champagne.
Exactly. That's what I want people to know, because not everybody likes champagne. And as you were mentioning, different wines have different characteristics. And one of my favorite bubbly wines is Brachetto d'Acqui. Do you know Brachetto?
Yeah, it's a red sparkling wine.
It's a tinge of sweetness, and
Yeah.
it's used a lot in Italy for lots of occasions. So that's one of my favorite sparkling wines, and because I like that just little tinge of sweetness.
Yeah,
So
me too. I had it several times actually. It's a good alternative to Lambrusco
uh-huh,
because it's less acidic and it's less tannic. It's got
yes,
a more plush body and it's a bit softer as well. And
yes,
yeah, I think Brachetto d'Acqui is one of the underdogs of Italy. It is very rare to
uh-huh,
come by. Well, it's like that in Europe. I'm not sure how it's in the US. And you can actually surprise a lot of people with it. Even though
mm,
if you like pour a red sparkling wine, I mean, you would serve a cold, so the
yes,
tannins would be softer as well, and it's nice and sweet, and it's better. It just feels more balanced between the sugar and the tannins and acidity. And
yes,
it's like Brachetto d'Acqui is actually a wine to look out for because the producers who make it are they're from Piedmont,
uh-huh.
and they're actually producing high quality wines anyway.
Ah.
And in this context as well, the Brachetto d'Aqui is
Mhm.
likely to be of a higher quality than a other red sparkling wine, which is also sweet. But
Uh-huh.
when you stay in Piedmont, since it's the same region, one of my absolute favorite wines
Uh-huh.
is Moscato d'Asti.
Oh, yes, that's good. That's great also. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is so fruity. It is overt with fruit, somewhat
Uh-huh.
nutty, and then
Uh-huh.
and it's sweet. It's got like 100 grams, 120 grams sugar, depending on the producer.
Uh-huh.
So it's very sweet. But the keynote on Moscato d'Asti, similar to the Brachetto d'Aqui, actually,
Uh-huh.
when I think about it, it's only got 5.5 to 7% alcohol.
Oh, there
So
you go.
so when you're
So,
going out for like a picnic, or you just had some
yes.
dinner and you want something sweet, or you want a dessert per se, like a solo
Yes.
dessert, both of these wines would actually go really well. So in comparison to champagne, you would
Mm-hmm.
like maybe go for a demi-sec, and it would be more complex, it would be more acidic, and with higher alcohol.
Uh-huh.
So like to close the meal, or if you want to have something light for lunch, Brachetto d'Aqui and Moscato d'Asti are actually a fantastic alternative.
Definitely. They are. They are. I would say that. And I know, the reason that I like Brachetto, it's not, it's softer than the champagne. It's got more of a
Yeah,
softer kind of feel to it. And it's like we're saying, it has just a tinge of sweetness. So I love that.
yeah.
So yep, that's from the Piedmont region. And there is another one. So I just know, I know mainly Italian wines in, oh my goodness, Orvieto. That is it's a sparkling wine too.
Oviedo.
Is it in Orvieto? It's in Umbria. I'm sorry, it's in Umbria. Is it
Ye-
something Orvieto? Oh gosh. It's a sparkling wine that they have there in that region, in the region of Umbria, and I can't think of
Okay.
the name.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know from the top of my head,
Okay,
to be
yes. Well,
honest.
there's so many that,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
Italy. Yeah, Italy is fantastic. Like
yes,
every time I go to a wine fair, you find sparkling wines all over the place. Usually they're made from native grapes, and a
yes,
spumante. So a spumante sparkling wine is
yes,
produced in a tank and in a shorter period. So what you
right.
would do is you take the wine, you put it
Uh-huh,
in a tank, a pressurized tank, and
huh,
you add yeast to it, and the
uh-huh,
yeast starts the second fermentation.
uh-huh,
And in the second fermentation, you would get smooth bubbles, and the
hmm,
wine is ready after a few months. In comparison to champagne, it might take several years, and you get brioche and lazy notes. And this is
right.
a contrast what the Italians want to achieve. They want to promote the fruit and the texture, and they want to promote. Sorry, they want to promote the fruit. They want to promote the the more mineral character rather than the brioche and the yeast.
Oh,
And the
yes.
wines are more accessible. Like even if it's an Umbria and the
Uh-huh,
Spumante, I don't know. I can imagine it's made from local grapes, like all
right.
over the place in Italy, and it's very accessible. We were on Sardinia last year actually,
Uh-huh,
and this was actually really cool. There was this winery,
hmm.
and they also produced a Spumante from native grapes from
Oh, wow.
Sardinia. So it was a
Right.
Vermentino,
Uh-huh.
and it's so yeah, so Vermentino still wine.
Yes.
It's like high alcohol, high acidity, a really
Hmm.
fat body,
Uh-huh.
and not very fruity. So they would
Right.
spumante,
Uh-huh.
and what he would do is he would put it in cages, and then he would submerge it in the water,
Yeah.
and he would just leave it there for a while, and then he would take it back out, so it was matured underwater.
Oh, wow.
So the bottles they were also very they had like a lot of seaweed on it. They had like a lot of chalk
Uh-huh.
and like very salty, and you would actually taste the salt as well. And that was amazing. That was absolutely incredible. So we get a helicopter to actually deliver it and lift out the crayons. So and then we'd have divers to um to connect the strings to the helicopter. So it's actually really interesting. I mean, there's like so much out there in the world,
Yes,
and the more you
there
think
is.
about it, the worse it gets. There's just
Yes,
so much.
exactly. And there's so much, and there's so many different. I know when I've been in Italy and I've toured a lot of wineries in different regions, there's so many different ways that, just like you're saying with putting it underwater, and there's all these different interesting
Yeah.
ways. So I know we've talked a lot about Italy. So are there, what other places? may we find some sparkling wines that we could use as an alternative to champagne?
So I'm living in Germany.
Uh-huh.
As you may hear, I'm Scottish, but I live in Germany. So of course I have to say Germany is a hot spot for sparkling wine.
Yes.
Traditionally, Germany is considered the most northern wine growing region in the world.
Oh, wow.
Climate change is kind of changing this now,
Uh-huh.
and Germany is famous for the Riesling, and
Yes.
this is kind of changing now as well in the sparkling wine, because when you produce sparkling wine, you want a lot of acidity.
Uh-huh.
And so with climate change, also the profile of planted grapes are changing. So now you would have grape varieties like Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, which are also now more frequent in there
Uh-huh.
in sparkling wines. And there's some very high quality producers in Germany, like exceptionally high quality producers
Uh-huh.
who produce exceptional Riesling,
Mm-hmm.
exceptional Pinot and Chardonnay blends or single variety from
Uh-huh.
single vineyards, leave it for many, many years on the lease. You get this high complexity, and it's just a fraction of the price when you compare it to prestige champagne.
Oh, wow.
And
Uh-huh.
the same is true also for Austria. When you talk about Germany in this context of sparkling wine, you also have to mention Austria.
Uh-huh.
The Austrians, they also now started a new offensive on quality sparkling wine. They're also seeking extended bottle maturation, extended lees contact to enhance the complexity and quality.
Uh-huh.
So, in the context of the quality and the price point, because champagne is very limited, and
Uh-huh.
this limit and the limitation comes with a higher price point,
Uh-huh.
and you have a high demand in champagne. But there's other alternatives which have a similar quality, but it's not champagne, may
Uh-huh.
just cost half of the price. So you can get the same quality just like for half of the money,
Oh, wow.
which is exceptional value in Germany and Austria.
And Austria also.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So if you go for expensive sparkling wine from both of those countries,
Yes.
and they had a long bottle maturation, both of these countries are very, very proud of the sparkling wine production.
Uh-huh.
And it's a Winzersekt or a Große Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you would nearly be guaranteed that you would get an exceptional wine.
Uh-huh.
I would be very surprised if they were of a lower quality or just okay.
So tell us the wines again for the sparkling wines that we could go to in Austria and or Germany that you're saying are not as expensive as champagne. Which wines would they, or which sparkling wines could we go for?
So if you want to make sure to get high quality sparkling wines from Germany, they're
Uh-huh.
called Winzersekt
Vinces that.
and Winzersekt. So what means as much as winemakers sparkling wine, and winemakers sparkling wine Winzersekt, it starts by €10, €12 per bottle,
Oh, okay.
and a
Yeah,
lot of
that
them,
is less costly than champagne.
yeah,
Yes.
but the majority of these you don't get into the US. There's
Oh.
some good producers from the Moser who go into
Uh-huh.
the US as well,
Mm-hmm.
and you would like by nature be more expensive because they're exported.
Oh.
But you would likely get like really high end bottles in the US in specialist stores.
Uh-huh.
So um, if you look at the German bulk market in the cheaper, sorry, we need to edit this. If you look at Germany in the lower end
Uh-huh.
spectrum, they would rarely be exported to the US, or they wouldn't be also be an alternative to champagne because they're produced completely differently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you go
Okay.
to Austria,
Mm-hmm.
Sect Austria, it's a new statute, it's a new program which are launching. So the highest quality is Große Reserve, then it
Uh-huh.
follows the Reserve, and after that it's Sect Austria. So you have Große Reserve, the Grand Reserve, the big
Uh-huh.
wine, the
Uh-huh.
Reserve, and then the Sect Austria.
And do you think we can find some of those in the US? Not, I mean, my
Yes,
audience is international, but in the US you can find those
yes,
in the
yes.
US. Okay.
You will be able to find them. Yeah, I'm sure about that. The Sect
Okay.
Austria and the statute is a new thing.
Uh-huh.
It's just being released, so it'll take a few years until it hits the market.
Right.
But being informed about it, waiting for it is kind of half the joy.
Oh, yes.
I'm talking about it.
What about Australia? Because I know there's some impressive wines that come out of Australia. Do they have any sparkling wines?
Oh yeah, Australia. Australia is amazing.
Oh, really?
I totally love the Aussies.
Uh-huh.
Um, so the Aussies, they are very far away,
Uh-huh.
and when you sell wines to the US or to Europe, the wines they have to be exceptional because they have to do this whole journey. And the Australians they understood this.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the best regions, it's Tasmania. It's this island in the south,
Yes, yes.
and
Uh-huh.
it's very very small.
Mm-hmm.
It's not big at all. So you would have it's kind of separated into a dry area into a really wet area,
Right.
and there are some vineyards in between. So it's very limited, and it's very rough, very cold,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a lot of producers who produce exceptionally high quality wine
Uh-huh.
with extended yeast maturation, or they're just very fruity, very expressive wines, but they also rival in price like champagne. But the
Uh-huh.
difference is, in my opinion,
Uh-huh.
that the wines they are more overt and more full-bodied
Mm.
than the European counterpart. So you would get more oomph in
Oh,
those wines
and the
than
wines.
the yeah. So champagne would be more restrained,
Uh-huh.
comparison to the Australian sparkling
Yes.
wines.
Yes, yes. How about, let's see, Spain? Anything from Spain?
Yeah. So Spain, it's mainly cava, and cava is Spanish and it means as much as cellar. So
Yeah.
the name also suggests that the wines are put in a bottle and then they're matured in the bottle. The second fermentation happens in the bottle,
Mm-hmm.
and then some producers expand the maturation inside the cellar. So there are two big brands that dominate the market,
Uh-huh.
and they're also exported worldwide. But as soon as it gets interesting, it's when you look at the artisanal producers.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of artisanal producers who work organic, they
Uh-huh.
work biodynamic,
Uh-huh.
and they leave their wines for a very, very long time on the lees. And they work with the brioche, with the texture, and they want more crisp flavors. But
Oh,
also, Spain by nature is hotter than Champagne, so the acidity is somewhat lower,
uh-huh.
and they harvest the grapes a bit earlier. So you like 1%, a half a percent lower in alcohol than Champagne usually,
Oh, okay.
um, due to the acidity and sugar ripeness.
Uh-huh.
And there's this new movement that's occurring in the past few years. It's called copy nut.
Uh-huh.
Copy nut is a new, very well, it's like a few years now, still new in the wine
Uh-huh.
industry. So there are a handful of producers who produce organic wines. They have to be
Uh-huh.
organic.
Uh-huh.
Most of them are biodynamic, and they're just focused on quality. You have to own your own vineyards. You have to do manual labor, and it's just extended aging, old wines, and they want to ensure the quality as well of the
Uh-huh.
copy nut producers. So it's kind of like a club of small
Oh.
producers who came together to rival the cava category,
Uh-huh.
and this gets really interesting and very political very fast. So cava kind of noticed this copy nut movement, and now they're also changing. So now there are extended maturations and excellent like high premium qualities of cava now hitting the market.
Uh-huh.
But if you look at export statistics, it's
Uh-huh.
still a very small percentage,
Mm-hmm.
and majority is actually enjoyed in Spain. But I think we're getting there. Like if you give it like 10 more years, it's actually going to be very relevant. And
Uh-huh.
Cava today,
Uh-huh.
and I hope, well, I don't know, I can just predict the future of Cava is going to be completely different.
Uh-huh.
And the focus is not going to be a lot of volume, but it's going to be
Uh-huh.
a lot of high quality.
Hmm.
So you would have a more full-bodied, textured wine. It's more overt and a lower acidity and slightly lower alcohol than champagne.
Hmm.
And I think Corpinat and Cava, they
Uh-huh.
can be great. They can be really, really great in food pairing. They go really well with tapas, mixed palates,
Uh-huh.
very complex wines, and they're quite cheap to be honest for the quality you get. So
Huh.
if you're looking like if you're on a budget or you don't want to spend too much money because you're visiting your in-laws,
Yes.
then like a cava or coffee nut. Well, cava would be a good idea.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they're fairly cheap. But
Yes.
that's changing, which is good for
Hmm.
the producers, of course, and for the wine industry, because sometimes I'm quite surprised that you get so much wine for so little.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh, wow. So we don't have too much time left, but is there a region that or like a country that would be surprising, like most people don't think of, that produce a good alternative to sparkling wine? Any place we haven't talked about?
yeah, so the majority of people would have heard of Capta Sikh, Prosecco. It's not new.
Yes. Yeah.
And because earlier on we were talking about climate change, and then no new regions emerging.
Uh-huh.
So it may sound very weird. Poland is
Uh-huh.
actually producing excellent still, and it's because it's a cold climate, it's
Uh-huh.
optimal for sparkling wine. So some Polish producers have been producing very high quality sparkling wines. You've got a really bright pace and acidity, a lot of fruit, very light bodied and very elegant. It's a
Mm-hmm.
completely different style than to champagne, of course, and they're not rivaling with champagne because it's not always a goal.
Uh-huh.
Because why do you have to always kind of
Right.
imitate a product if you can have your own signature?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Polish people, they're doing a fairly good job
Uh-huh.
in discovering the wine industry, discovering winemaking,
Yes.
and the younger generation. They've traveled the world and they're bringing the wine back to Poland and is
Uh-huh.
starting to plant new vineyards.
Oh, wow.
And the same is also true for Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mate of mine. He lives in South Sweden. He's a head
Uh-huh.
winemaker,
Uh-huh.
and he does a lot of PV varieties. PV means Pilzwiderstandsfähig.
Right.
For some reason this German term
Uh-huh.
came through and it means like it's fungus resistant.
Uh-huh.
So I mean it doesn't sound good. Like, do you want to taste my fungus resistant grape variety? What do you this is like resistant to fungus, but it's also
Yes.
these fungus resistant varieties, you have a lot of advantages
Uh-huh.
compared to the normal grape varieties, so called Vitis vinifera.
Exactly. But
Um,
that's very interesting about Poland, and Sweden is really cold. So
yeah,
that I would have been, but I guess what you're saying is it's good if they're in a cold climate to produce the
yeah.
sparkling wine. But that's really interesting about Poland. So unfortunately, yeah, we're out of time. It's been very
Oh, that
interesting.
that
So
went
maybe
fast.
yes, maybe we'll have you definitely, please come back in the near future. Um, so tell people where they can find you. If anybody wants to find you online, just look up your name, Peter Douglas. I know I did, and I found you have a
Yeah.
website, right?
Yes, yes. So you can find me personally on the douglaswineconsulting.com.
Uh-huh.
But if you want to explore new wines and
Yes.
new wine styles, I'd like to point out, go to vinovos.com.
Uh-huh.
We also have a sommelier bot who can guide you through and help you find new wines.
Yes, that's great. Great. Thank you so much, Peter, for being here. Thanks again.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been good fun, and I hope
Yes.
your audience enjoyed it as well.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Take care. Join me on a mouth-watering journey through Italy with my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, which brings you authentic recipes, heartwarming stories, and a dash of Mediterranean magic. Whether you're a seasoned chef or a beginner, these books will awaken your inner food artist. Get ready to say ciao to delicious adventures. And you can find the Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, at Amazon.com on Kindle and on marialiberati.com and the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks for joining us. And as always, thanks to my producer, Britton Roselle, and this week's special guest. And I just want to do a quick mention, since this episode was about sparkling wines. There was a great sparkling wine listed, actually it's a Champagne Pommery, in our holiday guides. So if you get a chance, check it out. It's in the holiday guides, and we'll probably be noting it on the blog at the marialiberatishow.com as another sparkling wine from this week's from this week's episode. And as always, you can find me at marialiberati.com, the blog and website for the show. It's the marialiberattishow.com. And let's see, our YouTube channel, which is the Maria Liberati Show. You can now find my channel, which is the Basic Art of Italian Cooking by Maria Liberati, on the Binge Networks. Just subscribe to join the Binge Networks and you can find the channel there, which has some of my cooking shows and some of the podcasts also in video. You can also find me on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on Twitter or X at Maria Liberati, on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati. Let's see, on Vimeo at Maria Liberati, and my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. You can find that at artoflivingprimamedia.com and on marialiberati.com, and also Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, and really anywhere books are sold. And until next week, peace, love, and pasta.